Today, we are unlocking the secrets of event hosting on a shoestring budget. In this episode, we'll reveal genius tips and tricks for hosting unforgettable events without breaking the bank. Tune in and discover how to make a big impact without a big budget. Lady bosses, are you working even after putting the kids to bed but still not getting results?
Are you tired of spending money on ads that aren't getting engagement?
Do you feel burdened that you aren't fulfilling your purpose in life because you are so consumed with work?
I'm your host, Brooke Boltz. I'm an attorney and founder of Boltz Legal. I started my business and in 1 year was bringing in 7 figures and am now bringing in multi-7 figures.
And I'm your co-host, Rachel Boltz, owner of Boltz Media. I've helped many businesses build their online presence and increase their revenue through digital marketing.
Want to hear how we did it?
We are here to help you achieve your goals personally, professionally, and spiritually.
So kick off your high heels, sit back, and let's ignite that passion.
We're Miss Biz, where we're putting the Miss in biz.
Let's get. We've talked before about the benefits of hosting your own events and how it creates the perception of you being an authority figure in your field when you are hosting these impressive events. And so for that reason, in the years 2022 and 2023, I hosted a bunch of in-person networking events for medical providers. And while it was very effective, it took a lot of time to plan it and a lot of money to put it on successfully.
You're being a little bit humble in that regard. People, it was every single month there was an event taking place. It was every single month that Brooke was stressing out, trying to figure out if the sponsors were going to pay on time, if everything was set to go with the venue that she had contacted about this months ago. You know, the big concern was, are people going to show up? There were so many different factors in place, and that's just the preparing beforehand. Then there's the actual day of the event, which if you're going to do it well and make it memorable, it's really has to be as close to perfect as possible. So there was a ton of time, effort, energy, and a lot of pressure to really make a good impression, because if the opposite occurred and you made a bad impression, then you might as well have you would have been better off not even having the event to begin with.
Sure. The hardest part for me was the inviting part, because I was trying to invite people who I didn't already know. I wanted to invite people I did know, but also I wanted to make new connections and meet new people through these events. And so I had hired a call center who 40 hours a week was calling, emailing, and texting these people to invite them. And inevitably, some months they would have a great result, and then other months they didn't. And so we, in the 2 days leading up to the event, when we're realizing the call center hasn't reached its goal, are frantically dropping everything to start inviting people to make sure we have a good enough attendance at these events. So that was the most stressful part for me. Of course, there's a lot of other factors that came into play, especially because we did events in different counties every month at different venues and had different sponsors each time. So there was a lot involved, as you know, Rachel, because you were an instrumental part of it. So not to take away from those events, but I think I might have gone a little overboard with doing them every month. So I now do those type of events more infrequently, maybe 1 to 2 times a year. But I came up with, I can't actually take credit for it. It fell in my lap, an opportunity to have the benefits of hosting an event without having to have that hassle of the inviting, and also costs no money. So here's what happened. This year in 2024, I was invited to be the liaison for the Women's Caucus of the Central Florida Trial Lawyers Association. So my role was to coordinate these events for the women trial lawyers in Central Florida. And a light bulb went off because I was able to be the host of this event, be the face of the event, but I spent very little time putting it together and spent no money out of my own pocket. And the best part is that I didn't have to spend a lot of time inviting, because whoever's a member of this association is going to be on the email list that sends out the invitation. And so just sending a few follow-up emails is really all that was necessary to invite people.
Sounds like a win-win all the way around, really, any way you look at it.
Yes, and so I thought of sharing this experience with our audience because you can take this same experience of mine and implement it in your community to be able to have the benefits of hosting an event without having to spend money or have all the pressure of inviting.
If you enjoy the Miss Biz podcast but still have questions or need advice, we have some exciting news for you. Join us for Miss Biz Connects. Miss Biz Connects is a weekly 1-hour Zoom call on Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
This is 1 hour each week dedicated to you. We want to meet you and put our brains together to help you grow personally, professionally, and spiritually.
To access the meeting link, visit us on our social media pages at Miss Biz Podcast, or send us an email to missbizpod@gmail.com.
Join us this Friday and let's grow the Miss Biz Nation.
So how do we get started?
So, first thing you want to do is find an organization that has an audience that you want to build rapport with. So that could be the local Chamber of Commerce, it could be the Rotary Club, it could be even your BNI chapter, Business Network International chapter, it could be a charity organization, it could be any type of organization that exists, the Lions Club, the Caucus, any of those organizations. If they have a membership that you would like to build rapport with, you want to join that organization. Next is that you volunteer to be the social committee host, and you say, I will coordinate the events for our organization. And you don't necessarily have to do every event, but at least volunteer to do one to start with. Then find out what the budget is for the events. Find out if people are supposed to be paying their own way or if the organization is paying for it. Figure out what the budget is and then coordinate the event.
Sounds super simple.
Yeah, it really is so much more simple, because then you just have to let the organization promote it to its members to get the people there. And you may make the extra effort to make sure the members are getting it by sending them a text to yourself or sending them an email yourself to remind them of the event. You may promote it on your social media. And it's also good for your social media presence for people to see that you are the host of one of these community events. It just makes you look like you're someone who's out doing things, being involved in the community.
Yeah, it makes you look like the face of the organization, or you get to represent that organization, but then you also get to represent your business. You have the opportunity to be that person at the door welcoming everyone. You can be that person, if you're coordinating the event, you can be that person on the microphone giving instructions. You can and make sure that there's certain things there that will be beneficial for your business as well, such as a sign-in sheet to gather email information so that you can add them onto your email campaign. I mean, really, there's a lot of opportunities here for new business owners or even business owners that are just on a tight budget.
Now, does it have the same amount of impressiveness, and are you seen as much of an authority figure if you are the host of a community event for an organization as hosting your own event? Probably not quite as much. What do you think?
Probably not as much, because I believe when it's your event, you can have your branding everywhere. You have a lot more control over like the structure and what the agenda really is. But I do think that there's a lot of benefits to being that face, and people are going to remember you because of that.
Yeah, one of the things in the events that I did was that I would be the keynote speaker. And so I would have a 20-minute segment of the event where I would get to give a speech. And if you're doing an event for another organization, they probably don't want you to be the keynote speaker every time.
Yeah.
So you may not be able to do that aspect of it more than maybe once. But even still, I think that a lot of the benefits are still there with a lot less work and no out-of-pocket money. So it's really a lot of benefit, even though you are sacrificing a little bit of authority, I think.
And I feel like there's not as much risk involved, such as when you're hosting your own event, you have a lot higher profit loss probability. There's a huge risk if something were to go wrong, and that could really break your reputation too if something really terrible happens. So I think the risk when you are doing these types of events is much lower than if you're hosting your own.
So if you're hosting an event like this, you're going to have the opportunity to be the person on the microphone who welcomes everybody and says, thank you all for coming. Here's what we're going to do tonight, and kind of thank them for attending and all those things. And as part of that, my recommendation is to try to find a way to tell a personal story about yourself. We did an episode recently on storytelling. So find a 3-minute story about yourself that shows your unique value proposition, what's unique about you, that trait of yourself that you want to be conveyed to this audience. Tell that quick story as part of your introduction or welcome to the group. That will help to build that relationship in a deeper way and to go along the know, like, and trust continuum better than just strictly talking business and talking facts of, okay, now we're going to go here and then we're going to eat and then we're going to do that. You know, those kind of things are fine and important. But if you can find a way to, in 3 to 5 minutes, tell an impactful story, that alone will build your credibility with this audience.
Okay, so my name is Crystal Boza with Therapy Hour. Today we are talking a little bit about business owners for community and connection. This is really important, especially for business owners. It can be a little difficult to, work by yourself, and we really want to kind of jump into the community set. So top 3 things that will kind of help connect with your community and build those connection. Your first thing is going to be your strength in numbers. So we want to focus on what your community looks like, what that support system looks like. It's going to be really important to build that support system and lean into them, right? So you have a stressful day, something's going on. That's where that support system is going to come into play, where you just want to pull out your hair and you really want to kind of dive into that support system. Really important. Your next thing is going to be increasing your engagement. This is really important. You want to foster those relationships, right? The people that you know that you can lean on, that are really going to help stand up for you and kind of help you along your way, that when you kind of hitting a wall, you really need that support and you want to try to engage with them. And then your last thing is going to be cultivating to giving back, right? And so you want to try to give back as much as you can, where we're helping, each other. I'm helping you, you're helping me, and kind of building on that even more so.
Also, make sure that you talk to people afterwards. This is huge. Anytime that you are running an event, people are going to line up to talk to you because you're the face that they are seeing the most often, so they're going to be naturally drawn to you. So make sure that you have ample enough time to talk to people afterwards, because that's really where you can get started on that relationship building, swap contact information, so then you can have a true shared experience together later on.
And if you're looking for an idea on what kind of event to host for an organization, a great one, and I've done all kinds of things, everything from country line dancing and bull riding to cooking classes to sushi making. Like, we've done all kinds of things. But one of the best ones that I go to over and over again is just a speed networking type of event, kind of like speed dating, where everybody spends, depending on how many people you have, maybe 3 to 5 minutes with each other, where they're introducing each other, answering a question, a icebreaker question that you can put in an envelope on the table. And then they spend those 5 minutes, and then they move to the next person and move to the next person, so that by the end of the evening, everybody has gotten to talk to everyone, including you. You've gotten to talk to everyone. So now that ice is broken and further conversation can happen, and it's...
Yeah, I think that that's a great idea.
Sorry, I was about to sneeze.
That's a great idea, though, because it gives everybody enough ample time to talk to one another. Whereas when you go to a normal networking event, you maybe only truly get to have good conversations with about 3 people. But when you have that opportunity to network with a bunch of people, then you can decide from there that you want to have more shared experiences with that person.
And those type of events are super simple to plan for. All you have to do is find a venue, usually a restaurant. Hopefully, if you have a private area, that's ideal. And then in advance, you print out, say, 50 to 100 questions that are icebreaker questions. You can Google those. ChatGPT comes up with great ones. You don't have to come up with them all yourself. And print them out, cut them up, put them into the envelope, little sheets of paper, and then you set them on the different tables where people are sitting. And then they do their 5 minutes, they pull an icebreaker question. Sometimes they'll pull it, sometimes they won't. Sometimes they'll just naturally have conversation, and either is fine. But you're facilitating in case they have any awkward silence, they can pull an icebreaker question to give them something to talk about. And then the hardest part, I'll tell you, is to get people to stop talking at that 5 minute change period. So what I suggest is you get, have this really nice sounding dinger. It's like a xylophone, but it's very small. It only has like 3 or 4 notes on it, but it's like a peaceful sounding xylophone. You hit it with a rubber mallet, and it is not like a harsh sounding whistle or bell. It's a nice sounding dinger, and I'll use that to tell people it's time to move to the next person. So that's always going to be the hardest part of facilitating, is people are going to be in the middle of conversation, not be ready to move, but they got to, because we want to talk to everyone in the amount of time. So if you need an event that's super simple to plan for and prepare for, that will get you good feedback, that speed dating type networking is a tried and true, really good one to start with.
You know we're all about that case, no trouble. All about that case, no trouble. All about that case, no trouble. All about that case. At Boltz Legal, we are all about your case. Text or call to schedule a free consultation for all your legal needs. BoltzLegal.com. Also, at these events, having a little gift to give It'll cost a little bit of money, but it's a nice gesture and it allows people to remember you more. One of the best gifts I got at an event, and I don't know how much they are, I don't think that they're too expensive, was actually at the Christian Chamber Conference. They gave everybody these little ring lights that go on your phone. And I thought that is the perfect gift to give business owners, because we are always trying to think about social media and making influential content, and everyone can use one of these because everybody has a phone. So I thought that that was something that's probably relatively inexpensive that everybody would find useful and remember.
That is a great idea. I would use that. I
Yeah.
would appreciate that. So something inexpensive, something that people will use, and something that is memorable are the key components to giving a nice little gift. And so that's just a way to kind of show how much you care as the host of the event and give them something to take home with them. So another alternative, if you are looking for other ways to have low expense in hosting events, but want to have a little bit more control over the event, is to do joint events with other businesses. So if you get a few other people together who all have a common audience that they want to present to, and you all share in the expense. The downside of this is trying to get everyone's schedules coordinated is really tough. And then trying to get people to pull their weight in whatever responsibility they had is also tough. So this is an alternative, but to save money. But other than saving money, it also adds some more pressure points.
I feel like doing it that way is kind of like when you were in school and you had to work on a group project, how the outcome can be absolutely beautiful because all of you are working with different skills, you have different experiences, and you can make a more comprehensive project together, or in this case, event together. However, there is a high probability that you're going to have to pick up some of the weight. So I would say if you are going to choose this option, just go into it with the mindset that I'm going to have to pick up wherever I need to. I need to be flexible in my mentality because sometimes things really do happen and you got to do what you got to do.
And even just trying to reach agreements on things like what kind of event you're going to do, what day you're going to do it on, all those things, what the budget's going to be. It's always going to be more challenging the more people you have involved, because someone's going to want to go bowling and someone else is going to want to do laser tag, and then you're going to sometimes be at a standstill for a while until you can reach a compromise. So it's a great way to share costs, but it can cause other stresses. So for me, I like the idea of either hosting your own, and you can always have sponsors who can participate by helping to share some of the expense, or doing this alternative, which is just becoming the social committee host for a local organization.
I love that. Thanks for sharing your experience today. Proverbs 13:11, dishonest money dwindles away, but he who gathers money little by little makes it grow. We appreciate you and are honored to be on this journey with you. We can't wait to help you, to encourage you, and show you how to grow personally, professionally, and spiritually.
If you found Miss Biz helpful, please leave a review and share with others.
You can follow us on social media at Miss Biz Podcast.
For legal questions or services, please visit boltzlegal.com.
And for digital marketing needs, please visit boltzmedia.com. Let's get biz done.